Well, good evening. Good evening. It is that time again, Sunday at 6 Central, 7 Eastern. Welcome, everyone. My name is Dr. Williams, aka Queen, and I just want to thank you for joining me on my personal journey through the Bible. Now, remember, I always have to give a disclaimer. It's just part of my DNA, I think. But I am not a pastor. I'm not a bishop. I've not been to seminary. This is just me, Queen, the one who went from being enlisted to officer, who's now a cancer doctor. I now have time to try to understand the word, and I want to take my time and make it through the Bible, understanding all the metaphors and imageries and all of the parables and things. And I just want to take my time, just as how I took my time for everything else. Now I want to do MIMS, making it make sense. And this is my journey. And again, I thank you for joining me. If you're on Facebook or would like to follow me on Facebook, I'm Queen the Maven. I know on Facebook. Please do follow me there. If you are on YouTube, you can find me at Queen Quanta. Please subscribe, like, ring the bell so that you will be notified every time that I go live. And this I try to do every Sunday. Yes, I know, every Sunday. And I just go live because I want to be transparent to show you that I'm really just trying to do this to learn of my own accord. So, again, just subscribe, follow, and join me on my personal journey. I am so honored for you to be here today. There is something else I wanted to tell you, but it will come to me. This is live, and I'm just having a chat with you, all the lovely folks out there. So, we are going to just jump right in. So, this week, let me tell you, if you weren't here last week, I encourage you to go back and watch the MIMS from last Sunday, which reminds me, this is what I wanted to tell you. Sunday coming up will be, or this week is Holy Week, Easter week, and that will lead into Good Friday, Resurrection Sunday, Easter Sunday. So I will not be joining you live, but I will join you the following Tuesday for going through cancer screening, and then the Sunday after that for discussing again MIMS, where we'll try to wrap up Psalm 93. So this week was just off the chain. I don't know how it was for you, but I had to pull up my fire extinguisher several times. My spiritual, like, I need to check to see if my spiritual fire extinguisher is on empty because can I just tell you, pound spiritual fire extinguisher, I was using that like crazy this past week. But today is the beginning of a new week and it's going to be better. So, as you know, what I like to do, we're just going to jump right into Psalm 91. But before we do that, what I'd like to do is just go through all of Psalm 91, and then we'll go to where we are, which this week we will be covering Psalm 91, verse 8 through 13. And I'm going to try my best to get through everything. I truly am. I'm going to get through everything. So let me go find all of Psalm 91 here, and we are going to go through this. Let's go all the way through. Just a quick primer, and we'll stop at Psalm 8. Remember now, you need to be memorizing this for yourself. And I hope that in doing this, Psalm 91 will come alive for you in a new and different way. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty, right? So if you dwell in the secret place, meaning you have a relationship with God and you could dwell in the shadow, you're not going to get into the house and have the protection unless you have a relationship. So 1, 2, I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge, my fortress, my God. In Him will I trust. Surely, surely He shall deliver you or deliver me from the snares of the fowler and from the perilous pestilence. We spoke of what those mean to not just biblically, but in today's world. Again, go back and check out the ones that were done in the past couple Sundays. He shall cover you with his feathers, or he shall cover me with his feathers, and under his wings I shall take refuge. His truth shall be my shield and buckler. I will not be afraid of the terror by night, nor of the arrow that flies by day, nor of the pestilence that walk in darkness, nor of the destruction that lay waste at noonday. And we had a lot of fun talking about verse 7 here, which says, 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come near you. Now we're going to jump back into doing the Psalm 8. And what I like to do when we do these is just go through and be sure to look at different translation. So last week we ended at Psalm 91, verse 3 through 7, and we're going to continue Psalm 91, verses 8 through 13. All right. So here are the different translation, and I encourage you that whenever you do this, you should definitely take a moment and look at the different translation. What that does is, help you to understand it in different ways. So I'm going to read from the Message because when I come on camera, it may block out the far end here. So in the Message translation, it said, "You'll stand untouched. Watch it all from a distance. Watch the wicked turn into corpses." I'm like, corpses? Ooh, that's some strong word. Yes, because God's your refuge, the high God, your very own home. Evil can't get close to you. Harm can't get through the door. Can I just tell you how important that is to know that the evil can't even get through the door? Ah, that is why first what was verse 1 and 2 is so important to understand. He who dwells in the secret place, you need to know where that secret place is. Then the NIV goes through and it says, "You will only observe with your eyes and see the punishment of the wicked." If you say the Lord is my refuge, do you say that? Can you say that? The Lord is my refuge. And you make the Most High your dwelling. I make the Most High my dwelling. Then no harm will overtake me, and no disaster will come near your tent. Now, there's some things as a cancer doctor I'm going to address in a bit, but we need to be able to know the word, what it means, and stand on the word. Now, as we go through verse 11 through 12 here, again, I go straight to the Message. "He ordered his angels to guard me wherever I go." Personalize these things, lovely people. I almost just say lovely ladies, but lovely people, lovely souls. Personalize this when you read it. And so he ordered his angels to guard me wherever I go. This is the Message translation. "If I stumble, they will catch me. Their job is to keep me from falling. I'll walk unharmed among lions and snakes and kick young lions and serpents from the path." Like, seriously, right? You have to be able to relate to what that means for you. And again, there is the NIV translation. I encourage you to go through these different translations on your own time. So, Psalm 91 and verse 8. Let's break this down to where it makes some sense, right? Verse 8, and again, I do the Elizabethan, please do the translation of your choice. "You will only look with your eyes and see the punishment of the wicked." Now, what exactly or what does it mean, the wicked? Who is the wicked? Who do you put under that umbrella of being wicked? Is that someone who does something evil to you or someone who does evil to other people? Who exactly is wicked? And once you define that, then you know that even though it looks like they're getting away, I usually tell my son that he's sneaky and a very mischievous boy. And sometimes I catch him with stuff and I say, "Look, you may get away with things over and over, but you only need to be caught once. We know that you're doing these things. We were young once, right? But you will witness trouble all around you, but don't get caught up in it." Why? Because here is the insight of to why. God gives spiritual front row seat to see how evil loses. but you're protected. He's your shield, not your shelter from reality, but your safety in it. A lot of time people tend to think that, oh, well, if I'm a Christ follower, this should not be happening and that should not be happening. Not so. Sometimes it may seem as though because you're a Christ follower, things seem to go amid, just go crazy sometimes, right? But this is to say that God, He's not going to protect you from everything because the rain falls on the just and on the unjust. But what He will do, He will shield you. He won't shield you, but He will shelter you and bring you safety through whatever you're going through, right? You're protected, right? He's your shield, not to shelter you from the reality of what's going on, but He'll be your safety in it to bring you through whatever it is that you are facing. Now, when we look at verse 9, it says, if you say the Lord is my refuge and you make the Most High your dwelling, mm, if you really, really, really trust God and make Him your home base, your safe place, then you should be fine, right? Let's stick a pen right there. Don't go away, right? Typically, an insight that would be given for verse 9 would be that a dwelling is where you live, not just somewhere you visit on Sundays. Remember, we talk about where that secret place is, that the secret place is not just a building, right? The secret place is not just a building. When we talk about the refuge and seeking the Most High, we're not just talking about you going to church on Sunday. And if you're not a Christ follower, or if you're a Christ follower and say, oh, well, I don't need to go to church, that's something we'll address another time. If you are not a Christ follower, don't know who Jesus is, that's okay. We're going to go through this, and we pray that you will start to ask those questions and don't look at me or anybody else. Can I just tell you, Christ followers, we make mistakes too. I've heard people say, well, how am I going to be a Christian if you do this or I see this person do that? And, but I always say that because I'm going to personalize this, right? Because it's my journey. Because I mess up, that doesn't mean that I'm not a Christ follower. Think about it. If you are the child of whomever your parent is, so let's say, your daddy is Ray and your mommy is Sandra, because you mess up, and no matter how bad you mess up, because you mess up, you may go to jail or go wherever. That doesn't mean you're no longer their child. And so it is with God. As Christ followers, we mess up sometimes, but that's okay. We are still God's children. So don't let the behavior, we are all striving to do better. And as we say too, the hospital is for the sick people, right? So be gracious to us as we're trying to make this journey. That's what I'm doing here. But one of the things you need to know that if you say the Lord is my refuge and you make the Most High your dwelling place, then that's where you live. You're not just visiting. You're not just having relationship. Now I'm doing this once per week, but heaven forbids if I only eat once per week. So the spiritual part of me need to be fed on a regular basis as well. I just want to accumulate and go through the studying process and make myself go through this at least once per week. All right. So when God is your constant, not your backup plan, peace becomes your default setting. Right. And so it's all about having peace in the moment, peace about whatever it is you're going through. Again, I want to take a break here and say thank you for joining me. Drop your comments in if you have any regarding Psalm 91, verse 8 through 13. And we're going to go right along so I can honor your time today. For Psalm 91:10 says that no harm will overtake you, no disaster will come near your tent. You'll be covered even when chaos hits others around you. We hit on this the other day when we talk about, yes, indeed, there is chaos everywhere. Psalm 91, verse 10, though, tells us that, well, If you're in the tent, it symbolizes that your life, your family, your space, that God becomes the force field that blocks what's meant to destroy you. And that can be even when you can't see it. I've had multiple discussions, I'll call it discussions, about the spiritual realm and whether or not I believe in the spiritual realm, and if I believe in the devil, and you can't see it, it doesn't exist. Even on a scientific level, that can't be true because I can't see gravity, but I know that if I jump off a cliff that I'm going to go down, right? It's People ask about the airplane. That's part of physics, right? It goes up and it comes down. That, however, is maneuvered. But know that there are all sorts of forces out there. And I can honestly say sometimes things are happening or I'm delayed, like I shared last week. And I know that sometimes things happen is for my own protection. Now, when we look at Psalm 91, 11 through 12, and I put these two verses together because for a very important reason, and you'll see that in a minute. Psalm 91, 11, 12 states, "For he will command his angels concerning me to guard me in all my ways. They will lift me up in their hands so that I will not strike my foot against a stone." And looking at some interpretation of this regarding whether what that does mean, what does that really mean, right? And it says God sends his angels to watch over me wherever I go. They'll catch me before I fall or I get hurt. And sometimes I put myself in that situation. I can't blame anyone else, right? It's stuff I have done. So God is gracious enough to catch me to make sure I don't get hurt. Angels are like divine security guards. They are invisible, but they're assigned by God with purpose and precision, and they're going to protect me no matter what. And all my ways, that also includes daily routine, anything that may be unexpected, detours, mistakes. Yes, He will lift me up. And this suggests supernatural intervention. And can I tell you, I've been through some stuff where it absolutely 100% is supernatural intervention. You could do without what you will. Again, I'm going through this trying to recall some of the things I've been through, right? Lift up suggests that again is supernatural intervention, but just take a look back in your life. Has there ever been some times where you're just like, how did I get through that moment? The stone represent unexpected obstacles, right? And that God, He's going to be there for you before you break anything. Here is something I want you to take a moment to look at. I'm going to go to the next slide. Now, take a minute and look at this slide. I thought this was absolutely so important to relate to. Yes, 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 my friends. I did that. I sure did. I went to Africa on a safari and God protected me. I tell you the truth because I signed all sorts of waiver, and I was just being silly too. I went on safari in Africa and they had this place where they were trying to get these lions back to out into the wild. And so they'll only keep them for a short period of time. And I was up here in the top left where you saw the tree. I was kind of playing with the cubs. I have no business doing that, but they're like, "Oh, you could touch it." Now, yeah, remember, I already signed a waiver. So if anything goes wrong, I can't blame them. It's like, hey, if you lose a limb or if your eyes get scratched out, don't blame us. You're in Africa and safari, and these animals are wild. These animals are never tame. We're just trying to protect them, feed them, and then let them back out into the wild because they're endangered. And so I am there, playing with the cubs like everybody else in my group. And in the back, I'm thinking, okay, I got this. No. And then the little cub ran up the tree. And I was like, holy mackerel, what just happened here? I know there were cats, but when you're in this situation, you're thinking, oh, I'm going to escape and run up the tree. Well, that would not have worked because these cats, they can climb up the tree faster than anybody else. So there went my plan. So you know what I started looking? Shh, don't tell anybody. So I start looking around and start looking at the folks. We're about a dozen of us. I'm like, okay, I can outrun you. I can outrun you. I can outrun you. Oh my goodness. And then the one that they're touching on their hind part is like a 18-month-old. This was a big cat. And we could only touch them in certain areas of their body when they're like that. All that to say, I went and did this up. It's from about 10 years ago or so, because here it says in Psalm 91:13 that, you shall tread upon the lion and the cobra and the young lion and the serpent, you shall trample underfoot. Like, what? Right? And then the message said, you'll walk unharmed among lions and snake and kick young lions and serpent from the path. Have you ever seen a real big human grown lion? I have. And just to hear them roar send shivers up my body. And I'm thinking, Lord, how do I do that? But what this is saying is that I'm looking to here on my notes that you have the power to defeat what's wild and what's sneaky. The lion represents obvious challenging in your path, like fierce and frightening. And yes, indeed, they are fierce and frightening. And the serpent represent that hidden danger, sly and sinister. You know people like that. They're just like, you're being all nice and honest and everything with them. Good evening, Ramona. And they are just, the sneaky type. Those are the little serpent. And they're saying that you're going to kick young lions and serpent from the path. And I read these things and I pause and like, how can I relate to this? And really what it's saying is that regardless what you're going through, that with God's help, you're given strength and wisdom to rise above these threats, both live and present danger. But again, what about if you're not aware of what's going on and it's just sudden? Like you're working, going about your business, you call into the office, do, and then you're let go. And that's been happening more and more, unfortunately. And there are a lot of us who just have not prepared for the future as far as savings. And so when you're let go, that become real and present danger, right? Now, as I was reading through this, I remember something just kind of clicked for me. And it's like, wait a minute, Psalm 91:11 through 12. Didn't I read that somewhere else before? Yes, yes, and yes. So I went back and I searched on the internet. I sure did. Like, where else was this said? And this was back in Matthew 4, 5, and 6, and Luke 4, 9 through 11. Now, this is Holy Week. So leading up to all of Holy Week regarding leading up to Easter, resurrection, with Jesus riding on today is Palm Sunday and being declared King, Hosanna. Well, before all of that began, he was fasting for 40 days, right? And at the end of that, the devil came and tempted him. And then the devil took him up into the holy city, set him, Jesus said, on the pinnacle of the temple and said to Jesus, if you are the Son of God, throw yourself down, for it is written, he shall give his angels charge over you, and in their hands they shall bear you up, lest you dash your foot against a stone. Now, can I tell you, I never really connect both of these scriptures before. This is obvious. I don't know about you, but this is scary to me. The devil's been around forever. So for him to be quoting Psalm 91:11, 12, he knows the Bible probably better than I do. I'm just like, holy mackerel, like it's in the Bible. Here it is in Matthew and Luke, Jesus fasting. And you notice that the devil came at him when he was at his lowest point, right? Hungry, weak. He was fully man and yet fully God. And then he came on and says, hey, didn't the Bible say he shall give his angels charge over you? All of that to say, if the devil can use the word to challenge Jesus himself, God in flesh, he's going to chew me up and spit me out. So I better learn the word. What do you think about that? Right? This was a scary realization for me. Like, oh my, I got work I've got to do. I got work I got to do. I don't know about you, but I've got work I got to do. Oh my goodness. Well, my lovely souls, I want to thank you for joining me. This is the end of Psalm 91, 8 through 13. I have a few more, just a few more things I want to say to wrap this up. I want to remind you that next Sunday is Resurrection Sunday, Easter Sunday, so I will not be joining you live. I encourage you to find a good Bible based church to attend and get to learn about Jesus if you do not know about Jesus. And if you do, but haven't been to church in a while, just to reconnect. Right? This is a very important time in the life of Christ's follower. So the next time that I will see you will be Sunday, April 27 at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. However, if you've been joining me for the health screening, we are talking about cancer screening, and the next time we'll be doing that is the Tuesday after Easter, which will be April 22nd, I think, and that will be 7:30 p.m. Central, 8:30 Eastern. And I encourage you, please go and look on the websites, whichever one, wherever you're joining from, be it Facebook or YouTube. There's a section of all the past videos. All those past cancer screening information is great. You should go ahead and check that out. So let me go back here and have a quick talk with you about some questions that I've been asked, and I honestly cannot answer them. I don't know how to answer those questions. But, in Psalm 91, it says that God is going to protect us, God is going to keep us. And so then I'm asked, then, Queen, how is it that all these bad things happen? Remember, we say that God said he's going to be with you through it. Then the other question, why did my loved one get cancer? Or why did my loved one die from cancer, or die too young, or die too early? I do not know. But this is what I do know. This is what I do know. And this is what I ask you to consider. Because I think a lot of people don't think about that. We're going about our life. We have the seed of eternity in us, right? We have the seed of eternity. And so we go about our everyday life with that seed of eternity, thinking that seed of eternity means we're going to be here on earth forever in this flesh, in this lifetime. But I ask you to consider that we're not going to live forever in this flesh, in this lifetime, during now. Remember, we came from the spirit and we will return to that spirit world, whatever it is that you believe in now. Remember, you don't know where you were before you were born. We'd like to think that we're going to return to this other place after we die. But that time in between, we're a spiritual being having a human experience. Now, transitioning and death and dying is a very difficult topic, and you're not going to get the answer here. Hence the reason I do my disclaimer, be it as a physician or as one trying to make the Bible make sense during my Bible review on Sunday. But in order to understand the answers to your questions, you have to look at the full lifespan. I did a Bible review, I'll gotta say a couple years ago, and I noted that there were certain events that occurred in 1911. 1911. I don't know anyone who is still around from 1911 to say yes, because if they experience like Walt Disney or whatever the case may be going, bringing the first show, then if they experience that, they may have been a teenager at that time, right? In 1911. They're not alive today, regardless if they were whatever age they were, regardless if they were 19 or 25 or 78 or 100 or 105, this lifespan comes to an end. And I think when we realize that we are spiritual being having a human experience, and we try our best to connect with God based on that, then when these things happen, when we lose a loved one, and when a loved one gets sick, it is painful, because remember, Jesus wept. Absolutely. But it will help us to know that God is going to bring us through whatever sadness it is that we're going through, whatever loss it is that we're experiencing, whatever painful things we're going through. So I absolutely encourage you to reach out to God and to pray. Go through Psalm 91. It's your spiritual fire extinguisher. And know that it's when it's not your time, it's not your time. I believe that. So, and even if it's your time, you could pray and ask God, like, look, I need extra time. So you can pray and ask God with that. But this is a tough question. So I encourage you to pray on these things and to ask God those questions yourself, because I don't have that answer either. And I doubt anyone really does. All right. That's it for me. Now, again, I want to give you thanks for joining me. Let me find my page here. So, this has been my personal journey through the Bible, where I try to make it make sense. And this is just my Bible review. You may find me on Facebook on Queen the Maven. Please do follow me, or on YouTube at Queen Quanta. Subscribe, like, ring that bell, and I hope you will join me next time. Now, remember, I'm not here next Sunday, but I will be the following Sunday after Easter. And on the Tuesday after, I'll be talking about some health. So you have to subscribe and you have to follow to know when I'm on. So thank you so much for joining me again this Sunday evening as I journey through the Bible and making it make sense. I thank you so much for being on this journey with me. And remember, with God, all things are possible. Thanks again for joining me. Until next time, you take care of yourself, and please do ask God those difficult questions, because He has all the answer. Again, thank you and God bless. Bye bye now.